Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Yesterday, Zelensky, the president of the Ukrainian nation, issued a verbal warning, or at least addressed in a video to the Iranian people, telling them, or at least scalding them, as a teacher scolds a student, of why do you guys send weapons to a criminal state, basically Russia. And since you don't, that's extra coming from me. This is what I got out of that. If you don't topple your government, you are part of the crime committed in Ukraine by the criminal Russians. So you do that quickly and topple your government, so your government doesn't get you as part as the crime. This was basically the message. It was done more weasel-wish, if you know what I mean, like a weasel over there. But that was basically what it is. He was addressing the Iranian people for their government sending military aid, causing crimes in Ukraine. The other way around, no. He didn't address the American people telling us to do the same thing because we sent him weapons to kill other people. But hey, those are the invaders, and the invaders' lives don't have value, it seems like. So, what happened last night on the 25th, on the morning of the 25th of May 2023, Russia again launched a, they say, massive attack on Kiev, with about 36 or so drones. That's a big number. The problem is, the celebration is, they shot all of them down. Can you believe that? Okay, neither do I. So let's read. I have about 3 articles, obviously coming from Ukraine and from the United States of America, from the Free Press, and see what they tell us to believe. So let's start with the first one, coming from the Kiev Independent. Ukraine reportedly shuts down all Russian aerial targets during May 25 Kiev attack. Ukraine shut down all the Russian aerial targets in an early morning Russian strike on Kiev on May 25, according to preliminary information reported by Kiev City Military Administration head Serhiy Popko. You know who I don't see here? Rarely mentioned lately. He showed up, Klitschko. I don't see him. Usually it was him showing up through the rubble, pointing out to buildings and all that. Now or making all kind of communiques and someone cut in front of him, it seems like. Cut the line or something. I know who he angered, or he became too popular maybe, and that was very concerning for some Ukrainian leaders. Russian forces used drones in their 12th mass attack, so they say it's mass attack, against Kiev since the beginning of May, which lasted over 3 hours. Popko said, adding that, and I'm quoting, all potential strikes on Kiev have been prevented. Very good, perfect American weapons, buy more. Basically, that's the commercial we are witnessing here. He did not provide any information at the time of the publication. Air defense was at work in the early hours of May 25, according to Kiev Oblast Military Administration. An air raid alert has been activated in most of Ukraine, including Kiev, Zhytomyr, Chernihiv, Kirovohrad, Mykolaiv, and Kherson Oblast, as well as western regions. Earlier in the day, Russian forces shelled 5 communities in Sumy Oblast, firing more than 84 rounds from various types of artillery weapons, according to the Ukrainian military. So that's one. And then we have here numbers, which the other article did not provide us, as the New Voice. But the New Voice, I think, is the same thing as this one, wasn't it? This is Kiev Independent, the same thing. Anyway, Ukraine shuts down all 36 Shahed drones in another Russian mass attack on Ukrainian civilians. Well, this thing, at least, anyway, you know what I mean. All 36 of the 36 Iranian drones launched were shot down, some of the approach to Kiev. Some Air Force Commander Mykola Oleshchuk reported. So they said the same thing here. Russia launched Shahid kamikaze drones at the capital, and all targets in Kiev were shot down. Okay, very good here. And then they tell us here how many civilians somehow died. And this is from the Jerusalem Post, the same thing. 36 Iranian drones. Obviously, these guys will use Iranian drones, which probably are, and I personally don't care. Thanks to our air defense forces for the 100% result. What is going to be 150% result? I think that's where they're heading. They're going to shoot more targets than the Russians send. That's happened in in Romania. I remember when I was a boy and I lived under the communist system of Romania. They were lying each year with the production of wheat, for instance, or production of grain, let's put it this way. And they lied every year, telling that the production is better today than yesterday, than last year, and next year would be better than the previous year, and so on. So they always had to lie. So when they were giving numbers, the numbers got so big at one point that were surpassing the American grain production, if you know what I mean. And why I know that, because I know my father told me that, and he was not really, and how should I put it? He knew stuff, let's put it this way. So as a kid, I didn't know that, but I know he was making jokes about that. Pretty soon we're gonna surpass the global wheat and grain production, and which is no. So the same here. These guys, if you remember, the Ukrainians, used to hit 1 or 2 or 3, and now they are at 100%. I stated that because I was making the same joke as my dad did. These guys are gonna shoot more incoming targets than those guys actually send. So those guys are gonna send, let's say, 10 drones, and the Ukrainians will say, yeah, we hit down, we destroy all 40 drones. The Russians already said that, Shoigu, about a week and a half ago. Actually, when the Ukrainians said that they downed those 6 Kinzhals and 5 Kinzhals, or whatever they said, again, 100% accuracy and efficiency, and Shoigu said, these guys are shooting down more than we actually sent, but hey, it's okay. I think it was when they shot down 18, that was the number, 18, and because I was thinking, so you launched less than 18 then? Yeah, it seems like. Now, it doesn't mean that the other guys are not lying as well, and it doesn't mean that the Ukrainians are not shooting down the rockets and drones and missiles. They do. I just have doubts that they shoot them all. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. I think it's just highly impossible, or highly possible. How should I put it? It's not very possible that they really hit all of them. It's not impossible, but I have my doubts. Okay, that's it. But I understand the situation. It's a war, and what's interesting is the Russians don't have their own production of like Shahid kind of drones. Do they have to buy the Iranian drones? It's kind of strange to me, at least. They build Sukhois 50 something. They build rockets. They send them in space. They have all kind of systems, jamming technology. They have all kind of nuclear weapons and submarines, nuclear submarines. They have satellites in space, but they lack drones. I have only one explanation. Well, they didn't prepare for that. They thought that's not important. They didn't think that they would be so effective. But it's been a year and 2 months, and they still did not start producing that. Is that so complicated, you think? I don't think so. I think something like this. But just think of the Second World War. Remember when the Russians, see, I got caught in these guys' semantics, the Soviets. When the Soviets built their, I think in the Urals mountains, their factories with the Lend-Lease, with the money coming from bankers and from United States of America and others, kind of the same thing here. Whenever you give you money, you kill them and so on, which is very interesting that the free world allied itself with a criminal, which was really, really Stalin, killing Soviet people like, purges and all that with the help of other people and from Soviet Union. But hey, zip it, we are on YouTube, can't say shit. So they were helping these guys. They built those factories in no time. In no time. And that was in the Second World War. That's almost 100 years ago. That's 80 years ago, let's put it this way. And these guys now, the Russians cannot build a freaking factory in a year and a half almost, or year and... Now give me a break. And you don't tell me they don't have the resources, they can't adjust. The freaking Soviets built tanks and airplanes. They received for the, how do you call it, trucks. That's a different story. But they built those things. T-34 was built by the Russians, not Russians again, you see, by the Soviets, but not by the Americans, shipped by Ford or GM or Chrysler or something. No, it was the Soviets. So I don't understand this. It's either Putin said we're going to increase the production, but on the other hand, he's like, it's kind of late. Now, when are you going to start doing that? You don't have resources. What's going on here? Technology, they have it. I don't want to accept that. Even though they can just buy the license from the Iranians if the Russians have a glitch somewhere and they can't drone, a drone. They don't know what a drone is. They can buy that license and build it. Jesus Christ, I mean, it's laughable. Maybe they're not all Iranian drones. Maybe they are Russians at this point, but they tell us it's Iranian. And that's for, you know what kind of reasons, because we have a little thing over there in Middle East and all that. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.